I mean, weigh it out. What's harder? Being fully present? Learning to set yourself free from the future and the past? Is that harder than being pulled in every direction? Or is it simpler and more freeing to be excellent and be in the moment and to enjoy this moment and to be great in this moment? I've tested both sides, and I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it, it is freeing, it's invigorating, and what's so cool is we get to see the best version of ourselves come out on a more consistent basis. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth. I'm joined in studio with my incredible co-host, Coach Mia.
Oh, I like that.
We've got Producer Arnold in the house back here. I'm not sure if he's mic'd up, but he's back there.
I am mic'd up. I'm ready. 5-Star Nation. What is going on, guys? Good to be with you.
Hey, so we're going to have a great show, and if you are brand new to this platform, I really want to encourage you, if you're not driving, to learn more about us at 5starlife.org. We're on a mission. This is our 19th year. We're heading into our year 20.
I know. We got to do something big.
Year 20 is upon us, and it all started 20 years ago. And the core of what we're doing is we're changing the trajectory of kids' lives by changing their mindsets. So at their core, we're getting to those core issues. There's so many great programs and things that are keeping kids off the streets or helping kids be active. Our mission is to get to the core of a kid's operating system, their mindset. That's where all great change takes place for you and for me and for kids. And so we've been writing curriculums, developing programs for 19 years, and you can learn more at 5starlife.org. But we're going to dive into a fun show because we're going to talk a little bit about one of the lessons we just filmed that will go into production this next school year for kids. It's a series teaching kids really about transformation. That whole chrysalis effect, going from a egg and a caterpillar and then a chrysalis into this butterfly, that transformative process. And it is something that's possible. Most people don't think transformation is possible. We just kind of get stuck.
Fear.
Yeah. And so if you're listening, buckle up because we're going to have some fun talking about ways that you can transform your life. And if you're brand new, you can actually listen to this. You know, it's something that airs on a local radio station, 95.3 MNC, but it's also on podcast and on YouTube at The 5-Star Life. And all of our shows are archived, so you can watch us too. Please comment. Please give us some feedback. We love hearing feedback. And we even like ideas. Or when you challenge us with, that didn't make sense. So we appreciate all the feedback. And subscribe. Thank you. Yes, hit the subscription button. So this whole process of transformation, it starts with your imagination. And we are so busy that we don't tap into our mind. Our minds are so incredible, and we're just like in this rat race, this grind. We don't use our mind as often or at the level we could, that in a way that will help us get to where we want to go.
Why don't we do that?
For a lot of reasons. I think just the busyness of life, you know, for people that are working and then they're in a relationship and then you have kids, you get into this rhythm and this cycle where you're just kind of on repeat, and we become very mechanical. And if we're not careful, we will get stuck at that point in life, which it's interesting. So mentally and emotionally, the average emotional quotient of an adult is age 13. That means the average person never matures beyond that of an emotional state of a 13-year-old. Why is that? Why? Because it takes intentionality to move beyond that. We just will ultimately stay where we're at unless we intend to change. And intentional change takes effort and it takes intention. So today we're going to talk about one of the habits that's transformational in getting to where you want to go. I'm just assuming those of you've listened to the previous show, and we talked about how to use your imagination just to think about where you want to go. Where do you want your finances to be? Where do you want your life to be? Where do you want your marriage and your relationships with your kids and your job? Where do you want it to be? But one of the things that's really important in getting that imaginative state into a practical state where you actually get there is this thing called excellence. And excellence, when you think about excellence, what comes to mind?
Oh, I mean, hotels, like service. Like when you go somewhere and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's like a high level. Like it means it's extremely good. Like excellence is greatness, right? I mean, we can just say to be excellent is to be great is to be excellent. And very few people strive for excellence in their lives, which is why very few people live excellent lives. We, as a society, it's amazing over the last 5 years, and we can blame COVID for everything, but it's interesting how for some reason, COVID was this catalyst to go from excellent service in all kinds of industries to we just blame COVID for why we don't have to do things with excellence.
Sure. Yeah. And then we blame it that, we also don't push people because of that. Well, look what they went through COVID.
Right. Yeah. So excellence is something like nobody lays their head in the pillow at night in dreams of like, I want to be mediocre. I want to be the most mediocre parent ever. I want to be the most mediocre employee or boss or teacher or coach ever. We dream, we hope to be excellent, to be great. And so how do we teach kids how to be excellent? And Tom Peters wrote a book about excellence, and he said something really profound, really simple, but really powerful. And he basically says we look at excellence the wrong way. We look at excellence as this thing to be accomplished 3 months, 3 years, 30 years down the road. Like someday I'm going to be excellent. He's like, not a good mindset. Not someday. He's like, a better mindset is this. Excellence is my next 5 minutes. Which you think about the simplicity about that. What that forces us to do is to be fully present with whatever we're doing. And to be excellent right here, right now. Be an excellent listener. Be an excellent whatever I'm doing right now. The next 5 minutes, be excellent. And some people are like, that's a lot of pressure. It's not a lot of pressure. It's actually fun. It's invigorating because yes, it's good to imagine where you want to be, but be where you are. So many people are not excellent in the moment because they're not where they are. They're off someplace in the future, worrying about the future, or they're stuck in the past, worrying or offended or frustrated over something that happened earlier. Like their energy is being torn from everywhere but being excellent in the moment.
So are you saying, so I look at my next 5 minutes and I want to be excellent. So let's just say I achieve it, check. Then I look at my next 5 minutes, or like what's the process?
That's exactly the process. You're not so overwhelmed by the big picture. You're just focused on being excellent in the next 5 minutes. So what am I doing right now? Basically, what am I doing right now?
I think some people would look at that and be overwhelmed with the notion that I have to think about that every 5 minutes.
Yeah, then forget that then. Then that's not going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about being excellent right now. Don't worry about 5 minutes or 6 minutes from now. Just like right now, you're driving home from work, like you're listening to something, you're in a conversation. Just be an excellent listener. Be an excellent friend. Be an excellent parent. Be excellent in your job right now. That's it. That's what he's trying to communicate. So if the whole 5 minute thing doesn't work for you, that's okay. So this is so powerful because we get hung up again in shame and in frustration that we're not excellent. And that holds us up from being excellent in the moment.
It's also an excuse to be, you failed and you don't want to get back up and try again.
100%. So Jordan, my middle son, just graduated from high school. We just had his grad party. It was fun. It's interesting. This phase of life the transition is you as a parent, you're thinking about all the benchmarks. You're thinking about all the things that you're excited about for him. You're thinking about every failure you had as a parent and like, is he going to be ready? What didn't I give him? How, like, it's amazing how there's a lot that goes on. And so it's so freeing to say, I can't change the past. I can't really worry about his future because now he's moving forward. What's done is done. It's very freeing to say, I'm going to be in this moment. And I have 2 months with him before he's gone. He's going to Florida to flight school. That's what I have. And if I can just be excellent, moment by moment, to me, that's a freeing state of mind and a fun, invigorating place to be. I know we got to take a quick commercial break. Please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be right back after this.
Did you know that you can bring the values, lessons, and mindsets Coach Seth discusses on the 5 Star Life podcast to your local community? Schools are searching for programs and content that work. Just a simple introduction to your teacher or principal could be a game changer in your community. Inquire at 5starlife.org and someone from our team will be in touch.
Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with Coach Mia.
You came in that fast. That was
Did I?
Yeah.
I came in hot.
I wasn't ready, but it was good.
And Producer Arnold, of course.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And we're talking about excellence. And if you just tuned into this portion, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Go back through the archives too and comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, and keep us updated. But we're talking about excellence, which is greatness. And we've summed excellence up or deduced it down to this simple formula of excellence is your next 5 minutes. And again, I know there's a group of people listening to like, it's Coach Seth, don't talk about excellence. That's too much pressure. I'm failing. I feel overwhelmed. This is the problem. I'm telling you, stay with me. Excellence is all wrapped up in where you are. So if that is overwhelming, it's probably because you are carrying a lot of pressure. And where does pressure come from? Pressure is from the past and it's in the future. I mean, we can choose to carry it in the moment, but like the pressure is about what we need to do or what we didn't do or what was done. But in this moment, I can be excellent right here. I can change the world right here. I have power right here. I have control right here in many ways. What I can't control is I can't control the future and I can't change the past. So excellence, for those of you who are overwhelmed by this idea of excellence and I'm putting more pressure, I'm trying to set you free to be who you were created to be. Like created to be excellent, to be great. That's what makes us wake up in the morning. That's what we want. And then what happens is when we can be excellent, we can make a habit of being excellent moment by moment. It actually is invigorating. How many times have you done something where your mind, you weren't fully present, you were in the future or in the past, you weren't fully present, so you did shoddy work or you didn't listen to who you were talking to or you weren't engaged in the conversation, so you just kind of checked the box through it. You were like a zombie. You walked through it and it wasn't excellent. At the end of it, you're like, that wasn't very good. That doesn't feel good.
You know what? And I think some people, I was just in a meeting and someone who's learning and growing, they're used to somebody else taking notes. They're used to somebody else like recapping the meeting. And I just was challenging that person that it's time, because I think being excellent, we kind of just sit back and they want somebody else to be excellent because it's hard.
Excellence. Well, I think I've said this to kids in our lessons, like being excellent is hard. Not being excellent is hard. Being disciplined is hard. Not being disciplined is hard. Working out is hard. Not working out is hard. Eating healthy is hard. Not eating healthy is hard. life is hard. Like, it's never going to be easy. So choose your hard. So this idea of excellence, I mean, weigh it out. What's harder? Being fully present, learning to set yourself free from the future and the past to be fully present. Is that harder than being pulled in every direction? Or is it simpler and more freeing to be excellent and be in the moment and to enjoy this moment and to be great in this moment? I've tested both sides, and I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it, it is freeing, it's invigorating, and what's so cool is we get to see the best version of ourselves come out on a more consistent basis. The more we make it a habit, all of a sudden, we're showing up as our best self. Well, all of a sudden, we start to like that person more. We start to feel, and when we start to like that person more, we start to feel better about who we are. We feel better about who we are. We show up with even a better presence. It's this powerful momentum that excellence in the next 5 minutes creates for us.
Boy, we just had some stories too that we shared on video of kids doing that same thing. And the little boy that, decided to really listen and press in on the lesson instead of sitting back and kind of, zoning out. And it changed his life, changed his experience in school.
Simply Asher, a middle school boy. And he said, honestly, I just kind of zoned out 5-star lessons. And that he said something, I don't even know what it was, something clicked. And I was like, I need to pay attention. And he said, I started listening, and that was excellence. He was fully present. He wasn't somewhere in the future. He wasn't thinking about the past. He became a great listener. And by listening, he's like, holy cow, there's all kinds of good stuff here. This is for me. And his whole life changed. His grades went up. Socially, he came alive. He gained confidence. And he's like so pumped going into the next school year and this is a kid who just moved to a new school district. So it transformed a whole part of his life just by being an excellent listener. And that's the power of excellence. It's like a little bit of excellence goes a long way. So it's interesting. I love basketball. When I was their age, middle school kids' age, all I could think of was basketball. And I loved working out. Well, I didn't always love to work out, but I worked out consistently. I trained. But there was other kids that loved basketball just as much as me. And they probably practiced just as much as me, but maybe even more. I know some kids, they'd say they'd practice like 4 hours a day. And I was like, I don't practice 4 hours a day. Like maybe like 2 hours, right? That's it. And somehow, as I got into high school, I was the best player by far. And even though these other kids were practicing more, and the thing that separated me from the other kids, we all went to the same camps. We all had the same dream of playing college basketball. We knew the same drills. We had the same coaches. The difference was I was an excellent listener. I was like Asher. I was a sponge. And so when I worked out, maybe not as long as the other kids, but I was working. There's an old saying, practice makes perfect. And I had a coach at a camp say, that's a bunch of baloney. And I was like, what's this guy saying? I've always heard practice makes perfect. You got to practice. Practice makes perfect. He's like, that's the biggest crock of junk you've ever heard. He went on to explain that it's perfect practice that makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. In other words, you have to be excellent. And so I took that nugget and I was like, I'm going to pay attention to shot mechanics. I'm going to pay attention to footwork. I'm going to pay attention to the details. So when I'm working out, I'm not just chucking up shots and going through the motions. I'm going to do things with excellence. And just the habit of excellent workouts paid off. It produced fruit. Simple stuff.
I got a real quick question for you. So then as you're thinking through excellence and you're going through your paces, concentrating on your form and all that, whether it was basketball or even in other areas of life, were you 100% focused on excellence, or were you also focused on, were you also focused on not looking at the past and not worrying about the future? Like, did you have to give energy to both sides of things, if that question makes sense.
So-
Did you have to intentionally try to tune out the past and tune out the future, or were you just 100% focused on right here and right now?
That's a good question. Actually, what I did is I had a brain hack. I'm a very visual person. So when I was at the park, this is before all these personal trainers and people training you to be a basketball player. It's like you had to go to clinics and camps, and then you had to learn, you had to absorb, and you had to watch people. Like, I'd watch basketball like crazy. I'd pick up moves. I'd go work on the footwork, the shot, whatever. And so when I was in the park by myself, I had to visually engage myself to actually, I knew that if I didn't go hard and do it full speed and with excellence, I wouldn't get anything out of it. So what I was doing is I was picturing myself, and I'd pictured Judd Heathcote, the Michigan State basketball coach. I would picture him sitting on the fence with his hands on the fence watching me work out. So I was picturing the coaches that I wanted to recruit me. I pictured that they were watching me work out. That was one of my weird hacks. So it just helped me be excellent. Like, if they were watching, this is how I'm going to go. I'm going to go hard. That was one of my weird hacks.
A great answer. And one of the things, so if you're, so for our listening audience, if you ever hear Coach Seth talking about using your imagination, it's not just something that he read in a book. He literally, it's something that he's applied in his life. And it sounds like you've seen some great success through it. So that's awesome.
Well, so it was also fun. And speaking of fun, we're out of fun. We got to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back after this.
5 Star Life is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to changing the face of culture by changing kids' mindsets. Since 2005, we've impacted hundreds of thousands of lives thanks to the generous support of individuals, small businesses, corporations, and foundations. Are you interested in helping 5 Star Life grow into all 50 states? With your donation or introduction, you can help bring 5 Star Life to your community, school, and state. Go to 5starlife.org and send us an email today. That's F-I.
Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, joined here with my co-host, Coach Mia, and producer Arnold.
5 Star Nation, what's going on?
And you asked me a question about excellence, and kind of I'm a visualization person, and I was telling a story in the last segment about how I would use visualization to help me train and work out. I've found that has translated to my entire life. So when I was a kid training in the park by myself at 10:30 at night or whatever, when it was cool, when it's hot outside, it was a hack that allowed me, I'd visualize coaches in the sidelines. Sometimes I'd often visualize myself being in a game, playing against whatever great talent I visualized. And it made it fun. So when I was training, I was visualizing actually performing with people in the stands. And it was weird because I was playing a game. It wasn't like I was training. It was like I was playing a game. And I'd hit a shot, and then I would feel the energy of winning, even though there's nobody there. Or if I missed it, I'd feel the hurt of I missed it, next play. So it's weird how the mind is so powerful, but it made training so much more engaging and fun. And I've applied that to the rest of my life. There's so many things that we don't think are fun, and I've applied those every time there's something that's just a drag. I visualize the beauty behind it, the power of it, the impact of it, and then I am wrapping some positive emotion around what I'm doing, and that drives me to be like this. It drives me to do it with excellence. Then I don't know. That's a lot.
No, but that's good because I need to do more of that. I mean, there's a lot of things that I force myself to go do, but I can't tell you that my mind is in the perfect place, as I'm forcing myself, which I love that you wrap joy and, good emotions, even though you don't want to go into a meeting or, face conflict or whatever it is.
Yeah. These are simple, again, part of this, what we're talking about, this is excellent thinking. I'm trying to become an excellent thinker, because if I can become an excellent thinker in the moment, I'm going to be an excellent doer, right? Because what we think about, we bring about, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can't be fully present and mindful is one of the terms. If I can't be mindful of what I'm doing and do that well, I'm not going to do it well. Right? Mm-hmm. So it is a cycle, and it does take some discipline. But it's very rewarding. It's so rewarding. And it's fun because it's like joy is choosing excellence. Like truly, like if I want to experience joy, like that's kind of a choice. Like if I want to experience peace, that's just, I can have fear right here. That fear is either in the future or in the past. It's not in the present.
Why do most people not see those emotions as choices?
Because we haven't developed ourselves, because we haven't learned how the mind really works, right? We haven't learned who we are, how powerful we are. And so we think that this is just what it is. And that's not true. So I think part of it is understanding, like, if you can start to, I love learning more about myself, and I'm not satisfied with the level I'm at, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you're going to experience loss and sorrow and hurt and pain and fear, and all those things are normal human emotions. I'm not saying I never experienced those. But the moment of sorrow, the moment of sadness, the moment of whatever it is, anxiety, fear, whatever, those moments, based on what's in front of you, based on your environment or consequences or whatever, those are real. But I don't need to stay in a cycle. I don't need to let that moment become an expended period of time and a mood, and then an attitude, and then a personality trait. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does.
So Arnold, I can see the wheels turn. You got a question?
No, I mean, I just really like that sequence that you gave. Could you give it one more time? So it starts with a moment, and then
it's like we get triggered. Like you get triggered by an event. Something happens. There's an altercation. Somebody fails you. Somebody talks behind your backs. There's something you fail, whatever it is. That moment is hard, and you experience a negative emotion. Normal, very normal. But what you do from there is now totally up to me. We feel an emotion from that, but now if I let that emotion become a mood, I have a bad mood now, and I let that bad mood linger for more than a couple hours, and it lingers into the next day, I'm in a mood, I'm now in danger of having an attitude, a bad attitude. And if I hang on to that bad attitude long enough, for enough days or 10 days or a week, 2 weeks, now all of a sudden, this is now becoming the new part of my personality. I'm now entering into a cycle. And again, for me, part of excellence is just saying, who do I want to be in this moment? Like, okay, I just got bad news. I just failed. This is awful. It's not good. I don't feel good. I'm not trying to mask that. I'm not sticking my head in the sand. I'm owning it. Now, what do I do with this information? Now I have control again. What can I do? How can I move this forward? But I'm not going to stay stuck in this place very long. And I think that's the power. That's when we become really resilient and really strong. And I know some people think, well, you're neglecting reality. You're not in reality. And I think very contrary to that. I think that we're very much in reality.
I guess for me, and Arnold, you might speak to this too, is like, I don't know when in my life that shifted. Like, I don't have to stay there. I have a choice to, get out of it. Because I was going back to childhood. I know no one taught me that. It was later in life I learned it. But I also know that I didn't stay there. So usually someone brings you out. And I guess you don't even realize that they're doing what you really have the power to do yourself. If a friend comes along and come on, quick, don't mope. Let's go do something.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The power of good people and environment. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a big part of being excellent. I mean, again, excellence is your next 5 minutes. So if you find yourself around somebody, whether you're in a mood by yourself or if someone else around you puts you in a mood, again, excellence is my next 5. I'm going to remove myself from this environment because this is not excellent for me. So it starts to drive you to actions that helps to move you where you want to go, which is super empowering.
It's good. You have anything on that, Arnold?
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things, I mean, again, we're talking about excellence, and sometimes you think about, if you think about like sports, for example, you can picture like two different coaches. There's a kind of coach that, drives his team towards excellence by like almost kind of like coaching them and walking them through it. Then there's the other coach that drives, their team to excellence. And, on the one hand, you can almost achieve that result of quote unquote excellence by either route. But I think one empowers people to be the best version of themselves that they can, not just be excellent in the sport, but be excellent in life and equipped to choose excellence. Whereas one may achieve like excellence in the basketball court or on the football field, but then just destroys the individual and then leaves them with basically like nothing moving forward. If you picture what I'm saying, like there are two ways of kind of like achieving quote unquote excellence, and this is a great example of how to, bring out the best in people.
Yeah, and there is definitely flip a coin on whether a lot of the coaches out there understand what we're talking about and understand how to work with people or kids or teams, managers, leaders in companies, same thing. How you motivate people. Is it fear-based or is it love-based? That's what I always come back to. So there's a lot of coaches that motivate, and this is like the old school. And I don't agree with it, though. People say it's old school. I don't think it is. There's old school, hard-nosed coaches that were driven by love. They were tough, but it was driven by love. And then there's other coaches that were just mean, just nasty, and they just made you afraid to make a mistake. And kids learn resilience from that. But man, I tell you what, there's no question. All the research out there says people that understand emotional intelligence and understand what motivates people and kids, it's definitely love. It's definitely, doesn't mean there's not accountability, but boy, I tell you what, excellence from within is very strong and compelling compared to this exterior forcing somebody. And that's where, as a coach, I sit kids down. I don't yell and scream. I explain it to them. If they can't do it, I sit them down. They have to think about it. Some people yell, and I don't yell and scream. Just like, have a seat, watch the game. You can't do this right now. You got to figure it out. Different ways, different approaches. All right, we'll come back right after this.
Five Star Life offers year-round programs for kids at our 350-acre training facility that we call Summit. These programs focus on 3 core components. First, each program includes lessons from our curriculum that targets kids' mindset. Secondly, each program teaches a skill like equine, archery, blacksmithing, basketball, fishing, boating, and many more. Thirdly, our programs connect kids to mentors we call coaches who are trained to help kids live a 5-star life. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more or sign up your kids.
Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show, our last segment here. I'm Coach Seth, and I'm here with Coach Mia and Coach Arnold. Producer Arnold is the official title.
Yeah.
We're just calling everybody coach here. You're a coach, and you're a coach, and you get to coach. So we're talking about excellence, and I hope you've enjoyed this show. Please give us a comment, give us some feedback, give us your input on excellence, give us your hacks, give us how you've become excellent and how you teach people around you to be excellent. We want to bring some of that stuff into our show. Trust me, we'll use it. We don't have the market on excellence. These are just principles that are really helpful. So one of the things that happened to me, this is a story I told in our curriculum lesson to kids. When I was in high school, my girlfriend dumped me right before Friday night, right after school, walking down the hallway. I thought I was going to give her a kiss goodbye. Instead, she just like, yeah, I think we should see other people. And I'm breaking up. And so she broke up with me for, I was a freshman. She was a sophomore. And she dumped me for a senior. I remember going through that whole process, like as an athlete, it's like it's Friday night. It's time to play some basketball. So I had a decision to make. Like, am I going to be worried about this girl that is dumped me Am I going to focus on that, or am I going to play basketball? And I chose to play. I chose some of you are like, you're heartless, Coach Seth, or you weren't dealing with the pain and dealing with, you're in reality. Well, we live in a culture that is so out of balance. Like, can you go through something that's hurtful? Can you have somebody that hurts you, but yet still be excellent? I think so. Isn't that resilience? So, and again, I know that I'm talking about this is a minor example. I mean, having a girlfriend break up with you. Now, to a teenager, that's very hard. That's the end. It can be the end of the world for some kids, right? Some kids end their lives over those things. My point is, it's relative. But I had a choice. Am I going to let what happened flow into my basketball game? Or am I going to draw a circle around it and deal with it later and, handle it, talk to, whatever, a friend about it, whatever, talk to a mentor about it, whatever I need to do? Or do I have to let that make me miserable for the next day, the next week, whatever? I think those are the little excellent moments that we want to teach kids how to be excellent and resilient in those moments. Like, how can you still be committed to your team and to your craft while there's painful stuff going on? Instead of, I got dumped. I just don't think I can play. Or if I don't play well, coach, I got dumped. Give me a break.
Right.
That's not excellent. Can we just be excellent for the next 5 minutes? And do I really want to be miserable? Or would I just rather play, have fun, play hard, connect with my teammates? Like, we're missing out on life by not choosing excellence, is my point.
This is also where it's hard to be an excellent parent, is when that child comes home and they're brokenhearted because they just went through a breakup. You know that they have committed to their team. And, we were the parents that you committed to the team. Love you. So sorry. But you do look heartless to some other parents, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're making, her go play this game. But in the long run, I think we're better for it. And I still get pushed to do things that I don't want to do either in those moments. And I don't like them, but then I look back and I'm like, oh, thank God my husband made me, go to that party or whatever.
Well, think about this as a kid. If my parents would have said, Seth, this is a lot. Are you okay? If they would have said, are you okay? Do you think you can play? Again, I'm talking, this is kind of an extreme situation,
sure.
right? But we're playing devil's advocate here. Yeah. But this happens. Do you think you're going to be okay to play? Hey, maybe you should let the coach know. It's like, what that does is it plants in the mind of that child that they are not as strong or resilient as they can be. It just puts the little doubt am I okay? And instead, I think you got to ask, man, are you okay? What do we need to talk? What do you need? And maybe some support, but this is what we've got to start teaching our kids. This is what we've got to start teaching each other as adults when things happen at work or in family. I know we need boundaries for family members, for work relationships, but there's such a lack of resilience in today's society where people just can't be excellent the rest of the day because this happened. I don't think I can handle this. Who told you couldn't handle it? We are so powerful, but if we don't believe we are, we will choose to not be excellent because we need to go do this, and this. Just an interesting challenge. I know I'm pushing some people's buttons right now, but we're stronger than we think we are.
We are stronger than we think we are, and I that's our heart. I just met with a friend. She fell down a flight of stairs, broke her neck, and to listen to her journey, her mind pushed her, and she's walking. She's with a walker, but she's like, for today, I am. I'm gonna walk. And I just thought, man, we sit there sometimes and we get lost in our own misery, and you forget how powerful our mind is.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's it. And that's the powerful thing about excellence. Like, the next 5 minutes, what does excellence look like? Do I really want to stay in this funk? What do I need to do to address this? But what do I need to do to be excellent right here?
You know what, too? And I think it's simple things. Like today, I forced myself to put the like cups in the dishwasher before I left. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to come home and I'm going to feel great because yesterday I left them in there and I thought, I'm not going to be that. I don't want to be that. So, it's tiny things, but man, they make a difference.
Those little things, we see those little things we do. Nobody else does, but it doesn't matter. We see them. We see the little things we don't do, and we see the little things, the little excellent steps we take, and it just empowers us and gives us some momentum. All right. So,
Go ahead.
So this whole excellence thing, as it relates to kids, the bar society seems to keep lowering the bar. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to raise the bar for kids, and we're trying to get them to raise their own bar of excellence. Like, forget the bar your parents have set or your teachers have set. Create your own bar, because when I set a bar for myself, it's usually higher than anybody else sets. Usually. Now, sometimes if I lack vision, I will lowball it. But the only time I set a low bar, like a less than excellent bar, is when there's some kind of fear involved, right? When I'm afraid I won't meet the bar, so then I lower the standard because I don't want to look bad, right?
Right, yeah. But that's when an excellent friend should come along and, you know what I mean, and walk with you. I think, too, that's so important as kids to learn what it is to be excellent, number one, for themselves, but to be for other people. It's so powerful.
Yeah, 100%. And I was just challenging someone who started their own business, and they were saying, I'm starting this business and I'm doing it all for my kids, and it's going to be theirs someday. And I said, listen, I love that you're doing this for your kid. Let that be a motivating factor. That, like, if that helps you, great. But do this for you. Do this because it's your purpose. Do it because this is what you're born to do. Like it's going to benefit your family. It's going to benefit your kids. But do it for you, and don't start to put expectations on other people, because that can be very hard for people to live up to those expectations and not helpful to them or to you.
Right.
But that was, for me, challenging that person. Like, it takes a little excellence to be willing to challenge people and step on their toes and defend them. Mm-hmm. Like, to be a great friend and to call them out when they're in a mood or when they aren't excellent and you see where they could be. We need more friends like that. We need to be that friend.
And not be afraid to be that friend.
Yeah, and not let fear take control. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so great show. Thanks again for tuning in. Arnold, Mia, great questions, great feedback. Again, you can watch this on YouTube at The 5 Star Life. You can also listen to this anywhere podcasts are streamed. And do us a favor, if this was engaging at all and you have someone in your mind that you're thinking about that would enjoy this, would you hit the share button and pass this along to other people? We're trying to build this platform, and really what we're trying to do is change this nation. We're trying to change the face of education, sports, and culture. And it's amazing how just sharing this could help do that. And again, there's so many ways for you to get involved at 5starlife.org. Go there, learn more, and thanks so much for tuning in. See you next week.
At 5 Star Life, we are changing the face of culture through education and sports by changing the most important piece of a human being's life, their mindset. If you are interested in being a part of our journey, please visit 5starlife.org for more information on volunteer and donation opportunities.